Good morning, guys and gals. Welcome back to Prepping USA. Let's talk about preps. Much needed preps. You know, the old standard, frijoles, beans. Most people stock the pinos. Bags of rice. Great thing to stock. But there are some other things that you ought to think about. You know, I've done videos on taste deprivation. So, I'm a big fan of eating fish. These are wild caught Solomex sardines. Now, why do you get wild caught? Guys, wild caught has less contaminants in it. Wild caught tuna, wild caught salmon, wild caught has less contaminants. Farm raised stuff has a lot more contaminants. And those of you that are actually, stocking up on frozen tilapia, stop it. Tilapia is a true bottom feeder. I've seen some of the farms where they're raising tilapia, and above the tanks holding the fish is either chickens, pigs, or cows. And it runs down into there. Their urine and feces run down in there, and the fish eat it. Tilapia is not what I would call a good fish to eat. Wild caught sardines. Why am I telling you this? You can mix this can of sardines with a little bit of rice, some vegetables, and have a great meal. And if you don't believe me, just look at the Asians. They've been doing it for centuries. You know, somebody asked me one time, what's the one thing you're going to miss when scat hits the fan? Well, cheese. I'm going to miss cheese. Well, I'm not now. This is Bega cheese. It's a product of Australia. I've used it for several years now. Very, very good. It's an acquired taste, though. It's an acquired taste, and it's easy to acquire. I get this stateside from a company called Pleasant Hill Grain. I went to order some yesterday and noticed that they're out. That they won't be in stock again till May 31st, I think is what the note said to me. You can get this off of Amazon, but 6 cans at $48 is a little much in my book. You know, I can get, I believe it's 36 cans for $112 from Pleasant Hill, and I'm going to wait. The only time I won't wait is if I figure out that, guys, it's over. They're not getting it either. If you're like me, you got to have your tortillas and your white bread and your whole grains, and when you make mashed potatoes, you got to have a little butter in it. You make spaghetti, you got to have a little butter on the noodles. Well, here's a product of New Zealand. And it's made in Morrinsville, New Zealand. It's called Red Feather Pure Creamery Butter. I've used this for several years. I started buying it, 10 years ago, I guess. Back when winters for me was a lot worse because I didn't have a job in the winter and things were getting tough. And I wasn't on any kind of retirement or stuff. I was trying to save that for a later date. Has a great taste. And you can almost leave it out. It'll almost live a week or two being unrefrigerated. Now, both this and the cheese say they've got a 5-year life expectancy. I'm going to tell you, the way I store things, keep it cool, in a cool, dark, dry place, it should last a lot longer. Now, here's an item that a lot of you don't think about, especially if you have munchkins around the house. I got a hold of some of this. I got hold of some of this. And this is candy, hard candy. Guys, if you got children at home, or even for yourselves, a couple of pieces of this a day. And sugar tends to help a little bit when people are getting down. Now, the other thing I suggest, and you're going to think I'm crazy, but I've heard it before that I'm crazy, so don't worry about it. Survival bars. You know, you can give the kids these and let them eat them, and as a dessert. Because some of these are very, 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 very sweet. This one happens to be apple cinnamon, which I happen to enjoy. But those are great to have. I would have a couple of cases of them if I were you. What's your thinking, Ancient? Why should I have I have a case of those silly things? Well, by themselves, these things This has 6 servings in it. The serving size is 1 bar. And if I remember right, okay, yeah. You know, it's a little square, about 2 by 2, and about 3/4 inch thick. Kids can eat those. But if you have to, that's a hell of a lot lighter to carry in your get out of town bag than cans of stuff. Now, hopefully you're smart enough that you've cached stuff, you've cached, I'll use the French term, cached stuff on the way to where you go to your bug out land. But this is the way you've got to take care of the young ones and the old ones. You know, my mom, I'll be honest with you, if she didn't have her sugary things, she'd go completely mad. Depression would sneak in on her and just claim her. With that being said, folks, this is just a few things. My next video, I'm going to show you some other things. I want I want you to comprehend what you need to have. And I'm going to tell you where you can get it. You know, I may or may not put the cheese and the butter in the show notes because I don't know. I may. But you need to go online and look this stuff up. You need to find what you need for your family. This is for mine. And this is just a drop in the bucket. You know, somebody asked me one day, how much stuff you got stocked back? And I said, about 7 years. I'm going for 10. Now, if you're in that area, mid-50s, early 60s, you need to start looking at 10 to 15 years worth of food supplies. Ancient, why? Most of you, if you're between 55 and 60, you probably are going to still get to retire about 70, 71, 72. Wouldn't it be nice to know you had enough food in the house that you didn't have to really go to the grocery stores if there was an emergency for 10 years, 15 years? If you got a garden in the backyard, your wife loves to plant her hibiscus and her geraniums and stuff. Replace a few flowers with walking onions. How about garlic, mint? You know, there's so many things I could suggest. Doesn't take much water, doesn't take much space. You come around here, we have fresh onions year round. You come around here and I have fresh garlic. Guess what? Year round. Not because it's able to grow outside, but it's because I grew it and I've got it hanging. Just remember, if you're prepping, you live in free America. If you're not, you need to get started. Because if not, they got a room at the FEMA camp for you. So, with that being said, this is the Ancient Warrior. Have a blessed day.